Hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hopefully people come and join. Sunday afternoon, everybody's chill. Just chillax, relax. Enjoy talking about football. Watch some football. And we'll get going. Hello, hello, hello. Sandro Tonali to Manchester United. Anthony Gordon to Liverpool. What we're going to do, guys. Yo, 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 yo. Hello, everyone. If anybody's in here, I don't even think anybody's in here yet. Well, I guess I'll just look at some Twitter stories. I think we should be signing this guy, me. How do I change this? Download. Is anyone in the live yet? Nobody coming to say hello? Greetings from Michigan. Hello, Alan, buddy. You all right? How's your Sunday going? Is it Sunday? Yeah, it'll be Sunday morning for you guys. How's your day going? I think you're the only one in yet, to be honest. We'll see how many people show up, and then I'll decide whether to continue with the live or not. But yeah, just wanting to chat on Anthony Gordon, Sandro Tonali potentially leaving. I'll give you my thoughts. How is everything though? Michigan. That's a mission away from mine. Yeah. I love me Sunday relax. I just relax on Sundays, me like. Chillax, easy like a Sunday morning. Breakfast of champions on Sundays. Another day, another Trafford link. I seen that this morning. Breakfast of champions every Sunday. Salmon, eggs. I get the full works out on a Sunday. Watching from Chicago. Yeah, I appreciate you Americans. Loads of Americans must follow me. I appreciate it. Chicago, Michigan. We had, what did we have yesterday? Oh, it's cut out my head. We had somewhere else in America yesterday. Not watched the new video yet, but would much rather lose Gordon than Tonali. To be honest, I don't compare which one I'd rather lose. It's just my thoughts, and I'll probably speak about it in this a little bit because I think there is a strong possibility that both remain at Newcastle United next season. I genuinely think it's a 50-50. But I don't think I genuinely think both these links are true. And I'll tell you why, because both of them, actually I'll show you why. It was part of my video. Both of them have, let's see if I can get it back up for you. Would have been this one maybe. Both of them have until 2030 left on their contracts. So these links aren't their agents trying to leverage a better deal from Newcastle, is what I'm trying to say, because there's no need, because they've got 4 years left on the contract. So Newcastle will just say, well, you got 4 years left, so we're not going to give you a better deal. Unless, if they had 2 years, I'd maybe think it might be to get a better deal from Newcastle. But I genuinely think they are strong, genuine interest from Man United and Liverpool. Because why wouldn't they like them? Because they're two talented footballers. Anthony Gordon's a Liverpool fan. Tonali wants Champions League, so it makes sense. But the good news about Newcastle is they're in a very, 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 very strong position. Because both players have 4 years left on the contracts. So literally Newcastle don't have to sell unless their valuation's met. And apparently Sandro Tonali's valuation is 100 million. I'm going to be honest, I think Newcastle will sell cheaper. Because we always ask for more, because it always comes down. So I think Newcastle will be happy to sell around 80 million, 90 million. Anthony Gordon, there's no valuation set, but I think Newcastle will be happy to sell for about 80 million, so double the money. So I do genuinely think in the the links are true. I do think there's strong interest. Mango again, my missus is going to start getting jealous again. I don't even know what to say to that. You just love us that much. I'm always on your screen. I love that though. Where you in this beautiful world? I think I'd rather lose Gordon than... Would I? Yeah. I think I would rather lose Gordon than Tonali. I think... Is Gordon easier to replace? Probably. I think there was a rumour not that long ago. Might have been Mark Douglas. Gordon... Mark Douglas followed me the other day, actually. Gordon has a release clause. Newcastle, of course, yeah. Nowhere better than Newcastle. Sun is shining, but it's windy as out there. I've just had the dogs out and I was nearly blew away myself. But I'm going to Google whether... I don't think Gordon has a release clause. What it might be, because this happens quite often, is... Say, when Gordon signed his... Because he signed us and he signed a new deal. When he signed his new deal, there might have been a little agreement in there if... Somebody meets a certain valuation, Newcastle will be open to sell. I don't know if there'll be a release clause in there. Let's Google it and find out. I don't think he does. Gordon has a release clause in his contract. I must. When was this? Let's have a look. According to iNews, Gordon has a release clause in his contract he signed on Tyneside back in 2024. At the time, it was described as a long-term deal, although the exact length of time was not revealed. Does it say anywhere how much? I know Grimaresh was allowed to leave for 100 million, but that expired. Still remains one of the club's most important players. This was written on 29th of March, 26. Today. Oh, that's the other. Let's see when this one was written. 14th of October, 2025. Right. According to I's Mark Douglas, a release clause was inserted in Anthony Gordon's contract. That was in 2025. Why didn't I know about this? Why didn't I read about this? While a release clauses appear undesirable, a high figure sets the benchmark for any interested parties, ensuring that... I think, do you know how we speak about this gentleman's agreement and all that kind of thing? I think it's probably one of those things where Gordon's probably said to Newcastle, I like Liverpool. I want to play for Liverpool one day. If that opportunity arises, will you let us go? Newcastle have probably said yes. 70 odd mil at best. To be fair, 100 mil for Gordon would be an absolute rip-off for whoever buys him. I agree. What I think about Anthony Gordon is, put it this way, we signed him for what? 39.5 million? Something like that. Now, he's helped us qualify for 2 Champions League, so he's helped us build the revenue with the football club. He's helped us win a cup, whether he played in the final or not. He was still part of the team. He was still the team that helped us get there. So he's done all that. And if we can get 80 million from him, that's a very good turn on investment. I would say. I would think that's a very... Newcastle have done good business because we've doubled the money and he's helped the club grow. So I'd be happy to sell Anthony Gordon at this point for 80 million because it's a good investment from Newcastle United, in my opinion. So yeah, I would be happy to sell him because I think he can be replaceable. And I like Anthony Gordon. I'm not one of them people that think he's terrible. I actually rate Anthony Gordon, but just not as a striker. But I want to hear your thoughts on Tonali. What are your thoughts on Tonali? Would you sell him? Are you happy to see him leave? Do you think he's going to stay? Let us know, because we should sell him for that celebration alone. Yeah, that celebration. Will that get me? That celebration. Stuff like that I find embarrassing me. I'm not going to lie about it. Losing Tonali for me will be like a dagger to the heart. Me and the band have always had his name on the backs. I like Tonali. I'm with you on that. He has his picture on his bedroom wall. Truly elite. Gordon misses way too much. We won't be sad. I agree with that. I think Tonali will be a miss. I take 8 million. I think you mean 80 million, surely. 8 million. This is from Corvo Castria. I take 8 million. I am one of those who does think he is terrible. Close control is garbage. And he's slightly better than Alanga. Whew. Ooh. I think Gordon's a little bit better than that, to be honest. This is from Big Yinks. He's a good player, but he has a lot of flaws. I agree with that. Anthony Gordon, he's not perfect. But it's very rare that you'll find the perfect player. Every single player has these flaws. If Tonali falls, we should ask for 125 million total package. That's never going to happen. I'm going to be honest. The reason why I do and don't see Sandro Tonali leaving is because I don't think Man United want to spend £100 million or close to on a midfielder. I think they'll probably look at Elliot Anderson. If Nottingham Forest get relegated, they'll have to sell him on a cheap, so they'll probably battle for that, even though it's very unlikely, because I think he will go to City, to be honest. But the only reason I say Tonali staying is because Man United won't meet his valuation, put it that way. Anthony Gordon gives the ball away all the time, selfish, prima donna. I agree with you, but I still think he's our best winger. Not striker, because I don't think he's a striker. Think Tonali will stay for the 26-27 season. Could see AC Milan selling Rafa to Man City. Rafa Leao to Man City is a Doku replacement in the summer, and then Milan buying Tonali. Why would City get rid of Doku? They quite like Doku, I think. Gonna be honest, I think they like Doku. And do I say Rafa Leao is a Man City player? If Pep stays, no. Sorry, but I don't. Tonali, I don't want to sit in the fence, but I say 50-50 with Tonali. I can see him leaving if somebody meets his valuation, but I can say nobody meeting his valuation, so I can see him staying. And I think, genuinely, there's a good relationship between Newcastle, Tonali's representatives in Tonali. So I don't think Tonali's going to push for the move, but I feel like all parties will be happy if his valuation's met. Does that make sense? So I think you'd be happy to stay, but you'll also be happy to leave if the valuation's met. City for Tonali. Well, there's rumours that that's happening. Let's have a... Because I've seen it on Twitter. Let's bring up Twitter again. That... At the top Manchester United's wish list to bolster their midfielders Sandro Tonali. In the coming weeks, the true feasibility of the operation will become clear. Manchester City is also tentative to the situation of the Italian footballer, valued around 100 million. Like I say, unless we come down in our valuation, I don't think he's going to leave. This is a direct quote from Fabrizio Romano. And when was this posted? 2 days ago. Sandro Tonali is a player who is very, very, very highly appreciated internally by United. The rumour one target for City at the moment is Elliot Anderson, which I'm not surprised about because he'll be cheaper if Forest get relegated. Manchester United are working hard on Tonali. there we are. Like, I think Man United genuinely appreciate Tonali. I think they appreciate and are happy to be in discussion with potentially signing Tonali. They're happy with that because I think they would be happy to bring Tonali in as a midfielder. But I just don't think they're happy to meet Newcastle United's valuation. Now, Newcastle United can put any valuation they want on Tonali because their valuation is based on the importance of that player, but also the contract. And this is why I always say contracts are so important. I keep on hearing, remember when we sold Alexander Isak, people said, what's the point in contracts? We may as well just not give players contracts. Well, you give players contracts because we've got over 100 million for Alexander Isak. If Alexander Isak didn't have a contract, then we would get nothing from him. So that's the importance of contracts. So the buyer is pretty much buying that player's contract. That's exactly what they're doing, because the less years on the contract, the less valuation and the less fee that will be paid. The longer years on the contract, the more fees that will be paid. So the buyer's pretty much buying that contract. That's why it's important to keep on top of contracts. Because for example, Joe Willock, if we had sold him 4 years ago, we would probably get double the money that we got now because he's coming out of contract. So people say, what's the point in contracts? This is the point in contracts. So Newcastle are actually in a very strong position when it comes to these two. And just before I get off this page, I just want to say I've just posted this video online. Go and watch it, please. Support the channel. Thank you very much. And I don't ask for much, but if you can, just hit the like button in this live as well. Let's see what some of you guys are seeing. Caicedo went for 105 million. Tonali is 10 times a player. 10 times better if we cannot get 110 plus 15 performance-related bonuses. I don't know, like... I think Tonali is valuation to us, considering his contract and his importance to us, is about 100 million, 90 million. Now, whether we get that remains to be seen. Would you take Kovacic if Tonali goes to City? I like Kovacic and I can see the resemblance between the two, but I think there's better value for money elsewhere, being honest. And I think I don't mind Kovacic. I don't mind him. I think he's a tidy player. He's Premier League proven. But for future long-term planning, I don't think he would be my choice. One thing I will say, we keep on seeing these rumours about Anthony Gordon to Liverpool, Sandro Tonali, Bruno. The reason why we see these rumours and we don't just see a bid come in is very rarely will a club just bid for a player. This was my biggest problem with Newcastle's summer recruitment. I feel like last summer we were just bidding blindly for players and we were getting rejected left, right and centre. Honestly, I felt like a punching bag with the amount of rejections that we got. We were getting black eyes everywhere. And that's because we didn't... When you don't have a sporting director in charge, you might not have the contacts that a sporting director would. So, and you might not have that relationship with agents. So I feel like Eddie Howe was just bidding for João Pedro and then the club would accept it and João Pedro would reject it. He was bidding for Hugo Ekitike. The club would accept it. Ekitike rejected us. What happens now is the buy-in club will get a feel whether that player wants to come or not because they're scared in the transfer window to get rejected. Sometimes it might happen, but very rarely will you see a club blindly bid for a player. And we done that so many times last summer. And that's why we were getting rejected left, right and centre. Because players didn't really want a come. And we didn't really acknowledge that they didn't want to come. And we're still bidding for that player. So what are things happened with Bruno? I think Man United did approach Newcastle for Bruno. I think they did. I think they went to Newcastle and said, look, would you be open to selling them? Even if Newcastle said yes, Bruno might have said no. Then Man United take a step back. And that's when you start seeing the links, like, getting, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, rubbished. So, like, that happens all the time. Sometimes it gets leaked in the media. Sometimes it doesn't. And I think Newcastle United need to get a little bit more of that. Start getting a feel if the player and the club would be open to sell and if the player would be open to coming. Because if they're not, don't embarrass yourself in the transfer window by making a blind bid. Chances Big Joe moves on 50-50. I would sell him. I've said this. He's 29 now. He's got 2 years left on his contract. He's just going to devalue in price. And if he doesn't sign a new deal and he wants to leave after 2 years, we're going to get nothing for him. I would sell him this window if we can get a replacement. Let's have a look at what else you guys are seeing. Fuck knows, Mango. Tonali might leave for Grimsby next season for all we know. I agree. I'm going to say, like, everything you read, you kind of believe everything, but you've got to kind of believe it because anything can happen in football. So there's some truth to it, but sometimes the truth is over-exaggerated. Do you know what I mean? So, like when you see, I seen links saying Man United are in advanced talks with Bruno. I didn't believe those. I think they asked Newcastle. Newcastle probably said he's not for sale. And Man United were like, right, but there's no point in bidding for it or going any further with this. So they probably changed their hand to Tonali. And Newcastle might have been a little bit more open to selling Tonali. £100 million or euro, that's European journalist. Yeah, that's euros, by the way. So like I said, it will probably be about 80 million, 90 million pound would sell him for roughly. But you're all right. I mean, these links, you kind of believe everything you read because some sites are just clickbait, and that's the truth and the reality of it. And you can tell, like, clickbait, like, goals aside, I don't trust them as proper journalists. Like, these are more of a clickbait trying to grow their social media. Do you know what I mean? Like, they just go off the back of what other people say. But when it's like proper journalists, like Fabrizio Romano or somebody like that, there's a little bit more element of truth to it. So yeah, I think Tonali, I think he could leave. It's genuinely 50-50. And then the thing about Anthony Gordon, the rumours to Liverpool are no surprise because I found this earlier. This was back in 2024. So Liverpool have always had interest. Liverpool appreciate Anthony Gordon. Talks took place. Look at that there. Talks took place within Newcastle within the last 48 hours, but no agreement on the fee or valuation. The only way to reactivate the option is if Newcastle drop their price or there's no chance. Newcastle prefer to sell players like Minter rather than Gordon. So I think Liverpool do like Anthony Gordon. I think Liverpool need a winger anyways because they sold Luis Diaz and they didn't really replace him. Mohamed Salah's leaving. Now, Mohamed Salah plays on the opposite side of Gordon. Gordon apparently doesn't like playing on the right side. But it's not about replacing Mohamed Salah as an Anthony Gordon. It's more about bringing bodies in that can play in the wide areas. So Anthony Gordon will go to Liverpool and he plays the left winger. But Liverpool are probably looking at Anthony Gordon and thought, he's had a good... We've always liked and kept an eye on Anthony Gordon. Now we've got Alexander Isak. He's had a good relationship on Alexander Isak. The two work well together. That's a brute reality. So they're probably looking at this situation and saying, is it possible to get Gordon out in Newcastle? Would Newcastle be opening to sell him? And clubs do this all the time. They approach clubs, find out the finances. If the finances don't meet what they're willing to pay, they'll walk away. But the worst you get is you're in the same situation. Do you know what I mean? So clubs approach clubs throughout the windows all the time and in the build-up to windows all the time. Sometimes the money that the club is asking for just isn't what you're willing to pay and you walk away. But at least you've explored the option of looking at the finances. Because the worst that happens is you get a no. Well, nobody's died. Nobody. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's the worst that's going to happen. You'll be back to square one. So I'm not surprised when I'm just trying to put me flip-flops on. I'm not surprised that our players are getting linked because we haven't qualified for Europe, and putting two to two together. The other clubs, if you put yourself, what I try and do is put my mind in a Liverpool situation. They're probably looking at this situation and saying, Newcastle are going to lose money this summer. Why are they going to lose money this summer? Because they haven't qualified for Champions League football. So we're pretty much, without qualifying for Champions League football, we're losing the best part of 50 plus million. The Liverpool will probably look at that and think, now's a good opportunity to approach Newcastle for their players when they're scratching around for more money, more revenue. It makes sense. So I don't blame Liverpool. I don't blame Man United for looking at our players, because I would do the same in their situation. It's obvious. Let's have a look. I missed some chats here, so I'll go through them. And I get a headache because I'm not wearing my glasses. I do need to start wearing my glasses when I do these lives. Right. This is from Coiner Phrase. Mango, I just don't believe you can break the Brazilian Brotherhood up. Don't ruin Bruno's position at the club by selling Joe Linton. Two of them are joined at the hip. That I agree with. I think the only reason would be happy to keep Joe Linton is if Bruno was uncomfortable with him leaving, should I say. Because sometimes it's about the players and that dynamic in the dressing room and keeping that chemistry. Sometimes it's about that. So I agree with that. If Bruno didn't want him to go and Joe Linton was happy to accept another deal for roughly the same money without as much hike on his wages, then I probably agree with that. And he'll bring squad depth. But what I'm saying is, Joe Linton shouldn't be a starter for us going into next season, is what I'm trying to say. But we should be looking to bring in more quality that takes us to that next level. Let's have a look. Twitter also makes... This is from... I keep on forgetting to read out your names, so I'm trying to remember to read out your names. Mr. Linkified. Twitter also makes loads of stuff out, and then half of the replies are... Yeah. Half of the replies are grok. Yeah. I agree with that. Twitter just make up some stuff, and then you get loads of replies from grok, just boosting them that whatever they've made up in the algorithm. I understand that. Never believed Fabrizio Romano. He said Trafford was coming. João Pedro deal was done when he moved from Watford to Brighton. No, I agree with that. But Fabrizio Romano... Do you know what? I'm going to stick up for a bit for Fabrizio Romano here. Because what will happen in this situation? How can I explain it? The deal is that much done, but it's not signed off. You need every deal to get signed off by the league. So the two clubs might confirm it, and then they need to send it off to the league. And within that time, when the two clubs confirm it, that's when Fabrizio Romano will get told of the deal. So he'll then tweet it, thinking it's going to get done. Within that time, before the Premier League sign it off, João Pedro might have changed his mind. Somebody might have changed their mind. Newcastle might have pulled the plug. James Trafford changed their mind. Man City come in, which changed everything before the Premier League signed it off. So the two clubs might have had the agreement in place. But without that sign-off by the Premier League, then it can't get confirmed. And something within that time, sometimes, it just happens. So, Fabrizio Romano is a reliable source. I know that for a fact because he's got good connections. And I've never met him. I don't know him. But I've spoken to agents that say, he's very, very connected within the football industry. And sometimes he gets told stuff to put out and he will get paid to do it. Let's not lie about it. He will get paid to put out news just to leverage a deal. And sometimes he gets told a deal's done, and then in the final stages, that deal gets broken down. It happens. It doesn't mean he's a bad journalist. Right, so what else you guys saying? What if City get deducted 60 points? Well, they get relegated, don't they? Like, if you think about it, I was thinking about this. Their their best ever season in the Premier League is 100 points. You need on average about 40 points to stay up, right? So if they get deducted 60 points, they need to have a Centurion season just to survive. Think about that. So, because 60 plus 40 is 100, and if you need roughly 40 points to stay in the Premier League, if you're deducted 60 points, you're pretty much relegated. Pretty much. Unless you have an insane season like a Centurion season, which was nobody else has ever done. It's only ever been done once. So if they get deducted 60 points, they'll go down. But do I think they'll get deducted 60 points? No. No. I think it might be 20 if they're found guilty, 40. I don't think it'll be as high as 60. I'm just going to boost my own ego here. This is from Mick Bingley. Hi, Mango. Great show, mate. I'm a Geordie live. Live in St. Andrews, Scotland. But you talk a lot of sense. Thank you, bro. Appreciate that. I just like that balanced everything. I like to look at both sides of the coin. I think that's, even with players, when you're reviewing players, that's the best way of looking at it. And what I was thinking about Gordon, and people say missed places. He's not successful in his dribbles, for example. When I look at my wingers, when I look at my forward players, I don't want my risk takers to have 100% pass completion rate. If you're a footballer and you're a chance creator, so somebody like Gordon, for example, or let's say Bruno, because he's our biggest chance creator. If Bruno has 100% pass accuracy, if I'm a manager, I'll be saying to Bruno, I don't like that. And you're probably thinking, why? Why wouldn't you like that? Like, he's keeping the ball, like, he's not losing possession. Yeah, but he's not taking any risks. You've got to take risks to win the game. And without misplacing a few passes, you're not going to be taking those risks. You'll take the safer option. And that's when you start going sideways and backwards. And this is what I say about Anthony Gordon. Yes, he might lose the ball. He might dribble the ball out of play. He might get tackled every so often. But I would rather my winger try and take on his man 100 times, be successful 50 and fail 50 times than not do it at all. I'd rather my winger do that, because that risk, the risk and the reward, you want that reward. Does that make sense? So when Anthony Gordon loses the ball, I see people shouting at the TV, you shit. No, I want him to do that, because the moment you start worrying about a player, it's when they start hiding and when they stop doing all the stuff that they should be doing. So when a striker misses a chance, I'll never shout at him, because I'd rather him be in the position to miss a chance than not be in that position at all. So I try to get a balance on everything. Man City violating spending rules and getting points deduction so Spurs don't go down is super heroic of them. yeah. That is brave. That is heroic. That is heroic things from the extreme, that. But do I think Man City will get points deduction this season? No, because this thing is going to take ages. Because even if Man City get found guilty, they'll what's the word I'm looking for? They'll like push back on it. What's the word I'm looking for? Challenge that. They'll challenge. If they get found guilty, then they'll fight it. And it'll go on even longer, because then again, it needs to be they'll appeal it. Appeal it is the word I was looking for. Let's have a look. Worst ever thing, this is from Joe Linton. Worst ever thing Gordon has ever done is off the pitch when he slandered Shearer, in my opinion. Yeah. I mean, it's not a good look, is it? Not a good look at all. Let's have a look. Math with Mango. Was it? Oh, yeah, I was doing maths. 60 plus 40. Fucking hell, I'm an idiot. Question Mango. This is from Ryan from Seattle. Do you believe in the Newcastle United tax? Us having to pay more money than other clubs? Do I believe in attacks? Nah. I don't feel like, let's say, Brentford. If us Man City went to buy a player from Brentford, I think they would have the same valuation on the player for both clubs. Being honest. I don't. But I think sometimes when there's two clubs going for one player, the player might have a preference. So, for example, let's say Kevin Shorter from Brentford. Us and Man City were both going for him. And he wanted to go to Man City. He might try and say to Brentford, look, I've spent 3 years here, I've scored you this amount of goals. Will you please accept less money from Man City so I can go there, please? And the club might say yes. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes the agent might say, I'll take $1 million less if you accept Man City deal and not Newcastle. But it might be the other way around. He might want Newcastle and they might say it about Newcastle. So things go on behind the scenes that we never ever see. I remember seeing one deal and I wasn't part of it. I was just with a mate that was in it. There was 2 clubs struggling to negotiate on a deal. And this is the power of agents, right? There was 2 clubs struggling to negotiate on a deal. And look, the deal wasn't going to get done. One agent made 1 phone call. And it was a super agent, let's say, made 1 phone call. Within the next hour, the deal was done. I don't know what was said. I don't know. I'm not in the know. I was just sitting with my mate and the deal was done. And I was like, the agents have that much power. So the agents have a lot of say in what goes on. But sometimes players at this level, like when there's like Tonali, Bruno, they won't allow those agents to have that much say because they've done a lot in football where they can, and they've earned so much money where they can play where they want, really, so they have the choice. But when it's like young footballers, like 20-year-olds, the agents do have a lot of say, which isn't right. I think it should always be down to decision. If I was an agent, I would always advise, but I wouldn't tell. I would always say, I would base it on the way the team plays. I think that team complements your skill set more. So regardless of the money, I think you should go to a team that is going to get the best out of you because the money will eventually come if you're playing well. That would always be my advice. Mango, what positions do you feel like we need to strengthen in the summer? It all depends who leaves. But let's say everybody stays, right? And we've got our squad as it is now. Let's say the ones coming out of contract leave. So Trippier, Shaw, Emil Kraft, those players leave. And we've got the squad we've got now and nobody leaves. I think, let's start with goalkeeper. We need a goalkeeper, guaranteed. Trafford, Rissier, Trubin from Benfica, somebody like that can come in, do a job. I think Trafford is probably favoured. If we can get him out of City, I think that would be Eddie Howe's preference. So I'm probably leaning more towards Trafford. We need a fullback, desperately. Like, I'm going to bring up our squad, actually. Let's bring up our squad and we'll go through it together. I think that's probably the best way of doing it. I was looking at Anthony Gordon's contract before, that's why I had that up. But I think that's the best way of doing it. So if we look at our squad, like, Ramsdale's going to go back to Southampton. I don't think we should sign him unless, and I say unless, he comes for a minimal fee and he's our second option. I wouldn't have him as a first choice. If Nick Pope, what contract's Nick Pope? 27. So, right. Nick Pope's going to stay around for 1 more year. He's not going to be sold this summer. And he's got 1 year left on his contract and he'll leave for free in 2027. So, based on that, I would not sign Ramsdale. So, he'll go back to Southampton. He'll stay, but he needs to be our second option. I want to reiterate that. Nick Pope will stay, but he'll only play as our second option. That's my guess, because I don't think we've got endless amounts of money where we can sell him, bring in 2 goalkeepers, and still strengthen everywhere else we need to in the squad. So I'd probably, based off that, keep Nick Pope. These 2 will probably, knowing Eddie Howe, will get a new contract. Right, centre-backs. We've got 4 centre-backs. We've got Dan Burn. We've got these 4. Malik Chow will stay. Sven Botman will stay. Dan Burn will stay because his contract comes out in 2027, and I think Eddie Howe likes him so much he's not going to sell him. So there's 3 centre-backs. I would sell Fabian Shaw and I would bring in a young centre-back. The reason being is because he's going to be a starter. He's going to be a starter, and he'll probably, knowing Eddie Howe, even though I do not agree, I want to make that clear, will start over any centre-back that we'll bring in. So I think we should bring in a young centre-back with very high potential, good ceiling on him, and have him as an understudy as he's, because we've got no European football. If we get in a conference, it's a perfect place for a young centre-back to develop and learn on the job. But he can come in and he can play those cup games against, like, who did we play last season? Morecambe, for example. So that's what I would do. Fullbacks, we also need a fullback because he's already expressed that he wanted to leave last summer and he hasn't had much game time. Eddie Howe doesn't really fancy him, so I think he'll leave. Kieran Trippier is leaving because his contract comes to an end. He'll be leaving because his contract comes to an end. So that literally leaves us with Lewis Hall and Tino Livramento. Like, our squad has been poorly managed. Let's be honest about it. Like, I'm not even sugarcoating it. Like, your squad needs a little bit of TLC, needs a little bit mango loving, and our squad has had no mango loving. So, like, we have to have a lot of churning players. And this is why I made a video last summer saying our squad is going to be unrecognisable in the next 2 years because a lot of players will leave. So we definitely need a fullback. And based off the money we can spend, we don't, because of PSR and SCR, we can't go out and just spend 300 million. We can't go out and just spend 400 million. Because all those players, those defenders that are leaving our club, aren't leaving for a fee. They're leaving on free transfers. So we're bringing in no money, but we need to spend money. Do you get where I'm going with this? So we need to spend smarter, not harder. We need to spend really wisely. And this is why I'm saying we should bring in a fullback that can play either side. And if we can bargain for a fullback, maybe 3 million, 5 million for a fullback, bring him in. So this is what I'm saying. Our squad needs a lot of attention needed. So we definitely need a centre-back and we definitely need at least one full-back, if not 2. Moving on to our midfielders. Bruno is staying. Jacob Ramsey is staying. Joe Linton is staying. Lewis Miley is staying. So there's 4 central midfielders we've got. Sorry, I'm just drinking me hot. Do you know what it is? I wasn't feeling well yesterday, so it's lemon, hot water, honey, and a little splash of whiskey just to make us feel better. Sandro Tonali could potentially be leaving, but he's still in contract of 2030, so let's say he stays, because I can't see anybody meeting his valuation, so I think Sandro Tonali will stay at least 1 more year. But Joe Willock will leave. Now, I think we need a midfielder anyways. I'm not having Nick Valdemar as a midfielder. I'm not counting him as a midfielder because he shouldn't be a midfielder. So I think we need a midfielder anyways. With Joe Willock leaving, then we need 2 midfielders. But we're not going to get much money from Joe Linton. So just think here, right? Let me just put this to you. Kieran Trippier, Fabian Shaw, Emil Kraft. Aaron Ramsdale will be leaving the club. Joe Willock. 5 players leaving. And we'll get about 15 million. Like, see where I'm going with this? So, we're in a position because we've got money to spend. Ross Wilson said in January, we do have money to spend. But they said that we're going to keep it for the summer. So we do have a kitty to spend. But we're not bringing in much money to reinvest. That's my biggest worry. Mango, please cover the table on the bottom of the screen on Transfer Market. Cover the table? Let's have a look what you mean. Oh, this, yeah. That's it's not a good look, is it? Nobody wants to see that. So moving on to our wingers. Jacob Murphy's got 1 year left on his deal this summer. So essentially we should be selling Jacob Murphy because he's going to be declining. He's 29, coming on 30. No, he's 30, sorry. Coming on 31. Is that right? No, he's 31. I've got the camera in the way, you see. He's 31, so we've got to be selling Jacob Murphy. I'm sorry, guys. As much as you love him, sentimental reasons, he had a wonderful season last season. He's not going to deliver those numbers again. I'm sorry, he's just not. Jacob Murphy has to go this summer. Anthony Elanga won't be sold because he's just come in. Anthony Gordon, same situation with Tonali. He's in contract, so unless somebody meets his valuation, he's not going anywhere. That's a reality. Harvey Barnes will have 2 years left on his contract this summer. We have to make a decision on him. We either get him on a new deal to protect our money, or we sell him. So Harvey Barnes in this squad is our only sellable asset where he brings in a reasonable fee. Unless we sell like a Joe Linton, Tonali, unless we sell like a Gordon or a Tonali. So we need another winger. And if Gordon leaves, we need another 2. Let's move on to our strikers. Nick Valdemara, I don't think Eddie Howe fancies him. Johan Wissa, I've got no words. And William Masula, he's a likeable guy, but he's not going to score enough goals to get you into Champions League football. So we probably do need another striker. So do you see where I'm going with this? We're selling. We should sell Jacob Murphy. We should sell Joe Willock. We should sell. He needs to go. He needs to go. He needs to go. He needs to go. And he's going. And the only players we'll bring in money for, we'll probably get about 1 year left on his deal, 31 years old, about 10 million max for Jacob Murphy. Because nobody's going to pay 20 million. Do you see where I'm going? No, like, we can say, yeah, we want 20 million. Who's going to sit here and buy Jacob Murphy for 20 million? Who's going to sit here and buy Joe Willock for 20 million? Considering he's 26, he's got 1 year left on his deal this summer. So we're going to have, the money we bring in, unless we sell a big name, is roughly about 20 million. I like him, by the way. Still very, very raw. But I do like Karam Koulibaly. Still very raw. I don't think he's Premier League ready, but he's a very high potential. So, like, when we're looking at this transfer window, like, when I see I'm a little bit concerned, I'm a little bit concerned. Do you agree with this or do you disagree? Oh, I'm not a whiskey drinker, don't get us wrong. I'm not like a go-to whiskey drinker from Ryan. I'm not a big drinker as it is. I can't remember the last time I drank, to be honest. But I just put a little bit of a splash in because I know it helps you get over a little bit of an illness. So, like, but I'm not a big whiskey drinker. I think it was like, I don't even know what it was. To be honest, I would have to go and check. Josh Evelyn saying he's trolling us. Who's trolling you? Am I trolling you? I'm not trolling you. Let's see what you guys have just said, what I've said. Our squad is threadbare. And that's what I'm saying. Like, our squad isn't a bad squad. But when you look at the contracts and the ages, that's my concern. We need depth everywhere. This is from Lion Point. We need depth everywhere. We've invested in squad depth long ago, but invested. Let's read that again. We need depth everywhere. We should have invested in squad depth long ago, but instead we overspent on players. That roadrunner wannabe, Anthony Elanga. Yeah. I said Anthony Elanga wouldn't be my first choice, and I said he wasn't worth 85 million. Not worried at all, Mango. The Saudi owners have us in safe hands. I don't disagree. I think we are in very good hands with these Saudi ownerships. But the only thing is, there is restrictions. So, like, the Saudi's owners don't have a say on how much money they can put into the club. So, no matter how nice and good of people these Saudi's owners are, which I know they are, they can't just pump in 500 million and say, Eddie, I'll go and spend it. So I have to have a little bit of a balance between selling players at the right times and maximising their valuation. Tino will go for 50, 60 million. He might have to. So then we can spend 20 million on 3 or 4 players to bolster the squad. It's an alert for you when somebody tags you in the chat. I don't think anybody's tagged us because it comes up along the top if I get tagged. Comes up along the top of my screen, but you don't see it. Lamine Kamara there and waiting to replace Tonali. I've got a question actually. I've prepared a video for tomorrow. My video was on Lamine Kamara. Now, would you rather a scout video on Lamine Kamara, or would you rather us just do a video based on our squad and who needs to go and who needs to stay? So I'm going to put a poll in the chat before I end this live. Video for tomorrow. I've put a pool there, so a Lamine Kamara video or do both. I'm at work, so my plan is to get up early, record one before work, go to work and then come back. So I can only, guys, I work a full-time job. I will do both eventually, but if I was doing YouTube full-time, then I would do both, happily do both, because I could sit here all day just making videos. But swear you already did a Kamara video because that's how you found out on him. Yeah, but that was like 12 months ago. I can do another. I can do an updated one. Wait, Mango, what time do you stream every day? I don't stream every day. This is my plan, right? Because I pretty much work Monday to Friday. Sometimes I get asked to go and watch a youth game if it's close by. So sometimes on a weekend I'm out and about. But this is my day, right? I get up. I start work at like 7. So I get up at like 4. So I have an early night. I get up at 4. I plan a video. I record the video. I edit the video. I schedule it for a random time of the day so I know it's uploaded in time. So I'll schedule the video I just put it randomly. And then I go to work, come back to work, and then I'll either do an hour stream or I'll prepare a video for the next day. And then I'll get up at 4 o'clock again. And then I'll record a video, edit a video, schedule it and then I'll go to work. I'll come back, have me dinner, maybe do a stream or plan another. And that's on repeat. And I go to the gym as well. And that's pretty much my day. So, like, please appreciate the effort that goes in these videos. Squad video. And then how you would recruit based on more. That's a good idea. So I'll do a video on the squad. And then the next day, I'll do a recruitment video for like 2 players for each position. Maybe. Or I'll half the recruitment video so it's not so long. Because I'll do like a goalkeeper and I'll do like goalkeepers and defenders in one video. And then midfielders and forwards in another video. So it's not... Because your attention span is like goldfish. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want a 30-minute video. If I can break it down to 2, like, 15, 16-minute videos, that's probably a good idea. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do a squad video tomorrow. We'll, because next week, it's still international break, so I haven't got a game till next weekend. So I've got loads of time to do videos. So I'll do a Lamine Kamara video at some point next week because I've prepared for it, so I may as well do it. Let's see what the voting is like. Yeah, 65 for the squad, so that means I've got to prepare another video tonight. Yeah, I'll do that tonight then. Mango, you are the new director of football. Pretty much well be. I would love that. Imagine me, director of football in Newcastle. Stream from work, imagine. Good result for the under-15s academy. I seen that. Beat Man City in the final. Do video on mix of players like Lamine Kamara and Mamadou Sangare. Guess what, guys? I already have that prepared. I'll show you. Look. So I prepared video. Look, tomorrow's vid, Mag. So that's pretty much tomorrow's video for Magpies. I've already done like Kamara versus Tonali. Have I got the screen up there? Yeah. Kamara versus Tonali. I've already done. Let's have a look. Where's me Sangare ones? Yeah. Mamadou Sangare versus Tonali. Some stats from Sangare. He's won the most duels in League this season. Second most duels in League this season. So I've already prepared them. He's won the second most tackles in League One this season. He's won back possession the second most times in League One this season. So he's a beast out of possession is what I'm trying to tell you. He's fourth in the list for ground duels won. Let's have a look at this one. Oh, I was looking at Valentine Barco, who's played the most through balls in League One this season. Vitinha has played 17. He's played 39. So I was going to do a video on Valentine Barco as well. So, like, I've already started preparing. This is what I do in my spare time because I haven't got any other time to do it. Let's see what you guys are seeing. Maddie, one of my OGs in terms of watchers. Mr. Mango, appreciate everything you do. You must be knackered. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes when I'm making the videos, I'm like this. Probably falling asleep. 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 in the morning. Give me an hour video, Mango. I love long form content. That's interesting. On a day off, I can do like an hour video because I'll have more time. Like sometimes when I'm editing these videos, I'm in a rush. I'm like, right, I've got 10 minutes and I'm like trying to get it out as quick as possible. If you were director of football, we'd be flying. One thing I would do if I was director of football, I would, because I believe in the motto, feeling to prepare is preparing to feel. If you don't prepare, you're going to feel. If you prepare, you're giving yourself the best opportunity. And that's with everything. Sponsorships, everything. Would you take Andre Onana in a swap deal for Tonali? I think Tonali's better in possession. The way I look at Andre Onana, I would love to like one-on-one manage Andre Onana. Because if I was to make up a footballer, not in terms of quality, in terms of profile-wise, it would be Andre Onana. Big, physical, rangy. He's technically good. Strong. Covers the ground well. He's got a wonderful long stride. Like, he is the makeup of an everything footballer, midfielder. So I would love to I would love somebody to get on the like one-on-one sessions with Onana. I think you can. I think he said Andre because of that interview though. Am I right in that? Because remember when the journalist said he called him Andre and Amadou said, my name's not Andre in a proper like broad English accent, and I think that's why I was saying Andre. But I would love like that type midfielder. I'll show you what interview I meant, because it seems like you might not know what I'm getting at with that. See if I can find it. I tweeted it out.
Qu'est-ce qui doit changer dans le deuxième match, Amadou?
Marquer des buts.
L'efficacité.
L'efficacité.
Merci beaucoup.
Il a manqué aujourd'hui. Je vous écoute. Andre is not even my name, mate. Do you know what I mean?
Qu'est-ce qui doit changer dans le deuxième match, Amadou?
Marquer des buts.
L'efficacité.
L'efficacité.
Merci beaucoup.
Il a manqué aujourd'hui. Je vous écoute. Andre is not even my name, mate.
That switch up in accent is absolutely wild. Andre is not even my name, mate. That's why I call him Andre. So do you know, could you hear that or not? No, I meant the goalkeeper. So why would you swap? Oh, for Man United. I thought you meant for Villa. I thought you were joking and meant Andre Onana because they're two midfielders. I mean, Amadou Onana. No, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. Sorry, I thought you were on the wind-up saying Andre Onana because of that interview. Sorry, that's my bad. Have Toon got their... This is from David Velch. Have Toon got their principal sports scientist in situ yet? I don't even know. I don't know. I don't know what we're doing with our... Because it was down to the sports scientists and the physios why Sandro Tonali didn't play against Sunderland. Because Sandro Tonali wanted to play against Sunderland, and it was Newcastle that said no. So I don't even know what's going on in that situation. Holloway Ben, I wouldn't swap Andre Onana for John Woody, never mind Tonali. I agree with you. I wouldn't want Andre Onana. Onana might be the only goalkeeper worse than Pope, to be honest. Why did you ask a question then? I thought you were asking the question implying that that's what you wanted. Apparently we're linked with Fernandez, unfortunately. Which Fernandez? Do you think that NUFC fans refuse to believe that losing Isak affected us massively from 0-2? I'm not having that as an excuse. Did losing Alexander Isak affect you? Of course it did. You take out... How many goals did he score last season? 23 or something? You take out 23, 22 goals out of any side and it affects him. Can we use that as an excuse? No. I'm not buying that. Sorry. Bruno Fernandes. We're not after Bruno. You're on the wind-up here. Bruno Fernandes is not coming to Newcastle. But I'm not using Alex. I get the reason for saying Alexander Isak, but I'm not using that as an excuse. I think it's a pitiful excuse. Because we're not the only team to lose a player. We're not the only team to lose a star player, but we act like it. Man United signed a really talented Colombian midfielder, Christian Orozco. Yeah, he's a good midfielder. A very good midfielder. There's another one that's coming through with Botafogo. Let's see if I can... I can't remember. It's George something. I can't remember his name. There. I really like him. I watched him in a youth tournament for Colombia and he was excellent. He's just signed for Botafogo and he's been excellent. I would love to sign him. Or has Sean Dyche got the Tottenham job? Because he's trending. Response to link. Tottenham. Imagine if they go down, guys. Oh. Right, guys, I'm going to end the stream there. It's been about an hour and 15 minutes. Had some fun. Would you swap Tonali for Trafford and Marmoush? Probably. I don't think Marmoush fits the way we want to play. I don't think Eddie Howe would know how to get the best out of them. But we do need a goalkeeper. But I want some money as well. I wouldn't just say those two. Yeah, I agree with you, Foxy. There's a lot of talented Colombians coming through. I agree with that. Let's say that right. Array Redknapp to the rescue. Imagine if Tottenham go down, guys. Fuck me. Newcastle leapfrogging in that big six. Please do these more often. I will. I'll do them more often. What I might do on, like, see if we play on a Saturday, I'll do a live on a Sunday. If we play on a Sunday, I'll do a live on a Saturday. Does that make sense? Because the other day we'll be doing a reaction video. Yeah, I'm just going to... Today, honestly, I'm just going to chillax. Just going to chillax the rest of the day. Because I just want a day of not making videos. Just want a night not making videos. Just... What's the word? Like, just scrolling social media. Just that type of stuff. I'll prepare for tomorrow's video tomorrow morning. I'll do a little bit tonight. But that's about it. But guys, I appreciate you all watching. Thank you very much. And no, genuinely, I want to say this because time is precious. So spend your time watching me and chatting to me. I genuinely appreciate it. So like, yeah, enjoy the rest of your night, guys. And don't forget to watch the video I've just posted. And yeah, thanks for all the support. It's greatly appreciated. Enjoy the rest of your night. I'm going to chill me dogs. Stay safe, guys. Joe Linton, you on the wind up. I'd sell him just because of the contract situation. Not because I dislike him. Not because I think he's a bad player. But if he's unwilling to sign a new deal, we can't afford to let players go on a free. So if you're happy for players to go on a free, that's on you, guy. Then you've got no interest in trying to grow this club. That's all I'm trying to say. Players with 2 years left on the contract, if they're not going to sign a new deal, sell them. I was going to swear there, but sell them. But I appreciate that, guys.